So what we're doing today is we're really going to analyze a couple of markets, and we can look at some tickers if you guys want to take a look at some tickers specifically. And I'm going to intentionally remove any fib lines from spies and Qs so that we can start over, right? We can start from scratch. And my goal is to tell you what I expect the market to do, like based on what the charts are telling us, answer any of your questions. Really, just to figure out, hey, do we have an action plan? Can we pull the trigger somewhere this week? Right. So that's my goal. So I always start my analysis on a monthly chart. So we'll start with the spies. Left to right, we're in an uptrend. So there's no secret there. And then the latest fib we draw for the recent swing low to high. We're above that 50% retracement. We've been talking about this for a few weeks now. We're above that 50% retracement. I just want us to redraw everything so that we have an action plan to take. And then when we go to the weekly, I see the same thing, but we have this downtrend here as we're pulling back to this 50%. Long-term bullish, right? Long-term bullish as long as we're staying above the 78.6. However, we have this short-term pullback, and what is happening in this short-term pullback? We're seeing lower highs, lower lows continuously. I don't want to draw any fib to the downside on the weekly. We'll just do it on the daily or the hourly. And that the purpose of the fibs that we draw to the downside is just to find any entries if this momentum continues to the downside until it finds some strong footing. So we're staying above 50%. Are we going to maintain above that 50%? That's what we want. So nothing really to draw on the weekly. When we go to the daily, as you can see, this lower highs, we have this trend line that we're going to follow. We have this lower highs, and if I draw my fibs, right, every time the 38.2 is breached, I find a new high and low, right? Because from here to here, it's not breached. So we go to here, but here it's breached, and then it made a new low. So this is now our new fib for the daily chart, daily fibs. So this recent swing, as we're going up and retracing, we have this swing, right? Lower highs, lower lows. This is the swing, and this swing wanted to breach the 78.6. It wanted to say, hey, I am done going down right at the 50% and I'm recovering. That's what it wanted to do, but it couldn't, right? So as you recall, if we stay below 78.6, the trend has not reversed. Yes, short term, it looks like it's going in that direction, but trend has not reversed. So that's why we're looking at this monthly. As long as we stay above the 78.6, on the way up is above, on the way down is below. As long as we're staying above the 78.6, we're still in a bullish trend. That's just how I trade. But short-term momentum, now we have in this short-term downtrend, it tried to capture the 78.6, it couldn't. So what happened? We're going to the downside. We continuously make lower highs. Here, lower high, lower high, lower high. We made a higher high. We made a higher low. But you have to put things in context, right? Things in context. We're in a bullish trend. We have a downward pressure, like economic conditions, right? You have to look at the geopolitical situations. Still downward pressure, so we're staying below that 78.6. So boom, this is where we are now. And so our pull the trigger finally, our hourly chart. Here's where things could get a little complicated, depending on how you want to analyze. Right. So here's this downtrend, right? So the long-term downtrend. Here's that fib that we've drawn. It breached 38.2. However, we don't have a new low, so there's nowhere to push this down to. There's no new anchors, right? So we just keep it as is. 78.6 is here. But what I said it can get tricky is you can draw one to the upside, right? This didn't get breached. This got breached. So all of this got breached. So we just draw one from here, right? Did I go too fast on this one? If I did, I can. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's in this recent up move, right? As we came down, it's easier to see on the weekly. As we came down to the 50%, 50% was a strong support. We've had this up move, right? This is the up move that we're looking at. So this is the up move that we're looking at. In this up move, we are down to that 38.2 retracement of this move. Like the lines, are on top of each other, so it's kind of hard to see. But right? If you draw it up, the first green line for me, 38.2. 23.6, 38.2. Things start to line up. So the reason why I like to draw this is this 78.6 did not really get breached. But if price and if bulls reef, they really want to reverse this trend, I want to see how far they bring this up move, how far down they bring it. I'm still biased to the downside. I just want to see. Right? I just want to see. My expectation is we're going to go back down to these October lows. Right? To this October lows. We're going to go back down there. But in the meantime, where will price bounce? This is what I want to see. Where will price bounce? Friday. So lower high, right? Continuously lower high. Continuously lower low. So Friday, when we had this gap down and price started to go up, this is what I said. I want to buy a put. I got on a phone call. I didn't buy this put. So, because lower high, right? Continuously lower high. This was my entry. The continuously lower high. We have this gap. It pretended it wanted to close this gap, but I wanted this put. I missed that opportunity. But it was a beautiful opportunity, right? 407 to 399. Same thing happened in Qs, right? From 301 to 294. Like this was the perfect entry. So that's why I want you to keep thinking about this, right? Price could not capture the 78.6. As a refresher, captures not just a close, but it also remains above it, right? That's what capturing the 78.6. That didn't happen. It closed above. It tried a few times, but it stayed below. You can see it more clearly on the daily because it closed above one day, the next day it closed below, and then it tried to close above, and that's it. After that, it never was able to make it. So that's why it's important to understand. Like, it's not just I am closing above and boom, ready to go. Is am I holding it as support, right? Am I making this move here to come back up here, but everything stays above the 78.6 using it as support? So that did not happen. So this is in general the setup, right? This is in general the setup. Now also what we are looking for is, as price is making higher high, you'll use MACD, but I use my own oscillator, but this did not change on the hourly. So, but usually I don't like to see it on the hourly. So from this high to this high is what I want. From this high to the next high, they both went up, right? So there's nothing that tells me there's divergence. But again, this is again the final confirmation. I don't have to take a trade based on this, but it's just nice if this can give me that opportunity, right? When it goes from this to here, right? So as we talked before, this low, but here it made higher low. Right? This is a good entry, but I did not see that here. Irrelevant because we're still, bearish biased, and we see this, and now what we don't chase, right? Right now there's no entry. Tomorrow morning there is no entry. Do we agree? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Question. If you hesitate, there's a question. So I want to know what the question is.
Yeah, I guess if we kind of zoom out a little bit, I guess for this one you redrew it right on the if you zoom out even further, I guess you kind of redrew this right there. But if you go back to your daily fib, technically, I guess you could have kept it without having redrawn it. Or did you have to redraw because the 30 was clearly breached? Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
So so you mean not redraw it from here?
No, if you kept it where it was. Because technically
I didn't touch the daily.
Exactly. So like on the daily, this has it's kind of a downward moving fib. So technically you're kind of in 78.6. And then when I looked at the kind of hourly, it kind of gave you maybe you wouldn't call it necessarily it's like a consolidation zone right there, almost between those three bars at the end of the day today.
Oh, so this, let's see. So this moved down, right? This whole move down is in the process, right?
Yeah.
We always want to enter at an area of value. 78.6 was our area of value, and so the next time it gave us this lower high and this inverted hammer, this was an entry. The next time it gave lower highs, continuously lower highs, we get entries. Right here, what is your area of value, right? So even here, you could have told me on Friday when I wanted to enter this trade that I was not at an area of value. I will agree with that. And even here, you're not at an area of value. So now you're chasing this move. You're chasing it if you want to enter here.
I guess the way I was maybe thinking about it is, kind of consolidate down further, that visual that we had.
Yes.
And I kind of considered this to be like a downward move, and then now it's kind of consolidating today. throughout the day in that range right there.
So this is what you want to do, right? And this down move, you go sideways, and then you continue down.
Exactly.
Okay. So yes, that's not a wrong move.
Mhm.
Like here, for example.
Yeah.
You see down here, we
Yeah.
came down here, we consolidated, but it didn't go down, right? It went up.
Mm.
So yes, I mean from that perspective, you can say it looks similar. So this move here, this consolidation here,
Yeah.
you want to continue to take it to the downside. Uh, yeah, it's, my hesitation is when I don't like to enter a trade in the middle of the move.
Mm.
Yeah, in theory, that's the right call. I mean, you're 100% right. Right, it's down, consolidate down. Uh, it's the right place. But what I want to see in those things is, do I see uh, do I see a demand zone? Do I see a supply zone? And am I at that place? And do I want to enter the trade?
Yeah. And if you actually look back at January 27th, it's actually a very strong. I guess that actually defeats my purpose because that's actually a very strong demand zone right there on the 27th. That covers that area in
The
January.
27th.
Yeah, just a few days. That peak right there. Yeah, right
Yeah.
there. See how it's like consolidate and then it just shoots up.
Or you want to look at this whole thing as consolidation?
Yeah, kind of is what I was
So
thinking.
it's a few days, right? This few
Yeah.
days. So rise, but here's okay. Actually, it's a good point that you brought up. So you have this hourly fib, right?
Hmm.
So so here's what you're talking about is rise, consolidate, rise.
Yeah.
This is what you're talking about.
Hmm.
So in this area, we have the rise. We we don't really have the consolidator. We have a pullback to an area of value. That 38.2 retracement. That's actually a good area of value. And then from there it shot up. So you don't really have this. You have this is what you have.
Hmm.
It's after the drop it consolidated a little bit down here. But
Hmm.
as a concept, right? So this is what I prefer over this. Because this to me is part of the middle of the trade. So I don't like to take these trades. Conceptually it's right, but I don't like to take these trades. I prefer to take trades where I get a pullback or a rally to an area
Hmm.
of value so I can pull the trigger. So in this case, up, pull back, right? Pull back to an area of value. And then boom, it shot up. Powell spoke. I didn't take that trade. We've talked about this, and I
Hmm.
intentionally did not take this trade. But in your paper trading, take it. I want you
Yeah.
to take it because as technically, it was the right setup. It was the right setup. So here, that's why here I don't want to chase it.
Yeah. It's also a
Now,
strong
if
demand zone. Yeah.
yeah, well, I don't know about strong demand zone, but uh, like here was a potential demand zone,
Yeah.
right? And it blew through it, so it's no longer uh, valid demand zone. But I have one down here. I have one down here, so we will see what happens here. That's why we like you have to look at different angles that that 50% could be a strong place and price could reverse. That's why I like to draw this one and see could it come down to this 50%, which also lines up with this demand zone and decide to continue up. Does it blow through this and come down to the next demand zone? Do I wish it for it to continue to go down? Yes, for sure. Right. So right now I don't see any entry over the between today and next week. If price comes somewhere here to the 70% and gives us, this is an area of value, it gives us consolidation, inverted hammer, railroad tracks. We pull the trigger and we talk about it next week. So here's an entry, right? For me, this is the entry that I see. If we come back to somewhere here, we continue this lower high. On this rally, I'm going to take it to the downside. If price wants to continue to go down, and then this demand zone holds, and it acts as support, very, very short term, I'm going to enter a bullish position here. Bullish position here, bearish position here. This is my setup. Right? This is as simple as this. Like there's nothing else I'm looking at. Like every hour I'll look at it. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Right? This one specifically, this one might take a couple of days to develop. So just take a look at it here, take a look at it here, and then if the conditions are met, we pull the trigger. And we talk about it next week. Right? Did any of this happen? Or did price just keep slicing through? This consolidation that I am not taking, if you want to take it. Right? Because that's part of your journaling. You're saying, hey, I want to take, even if it consolidates downside down, I'm going to take it. Then you take it as soon as it breaks below this area. Tomorrow or the day after, you take it. But this is a setup that I'm looking at. Maybe are you there? Your video is frozen.
Oh, did it? Why does it keep doing that? Your video isn't working. We can access your camera.
Okay. So now let's look at the Q. Same concept, right? So we don't really need to draw all these fibs. It's the same, because it's the same type of move.
Yeah. And sorry about that, Beanie. I didn't realize we were looking at SPY. I said a strong demand zone because I was looking at the Qs. And I realize now that this is the chart I was looking at. They look very similar recently.
They do. They're moving very, very similarly.
Yeah. You see how it's approaching that demand zone and that gap, actually. I guess you can call it.
Yeah, it's approaching this gap.
Yeah.
So I think I need to draw the fibs on this because it's important we have this one. Extremely important. I just decided to remove it for today so that we can start from scratch and have the conversation and understand where we're at. So what's critical is this 61.8 retracement on this big move up. On this big move up. 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 4 months in a row, it held, right? That 61.8 is holding. So we next time price comes down here, we pay attention to it. We really pay attention to it because it's telling us a lot of things. So what's happening? We get lower highs, continuously lower highs at a demand zone, right? This was our supply zone, another supply zone, and we talked about this supply zone. I said when price broke through this area, I said this is a supply zone where it can potentially freeze, right? And that's exactly what happened. It froze at this area. So now we want to see then what happens as price pushes down and it comes to the 61.8. We have some decision to make. Or does it want to reverse? It does it want to reverse. We have some decision we need to make. Right now, it's so from this move, it broke everything. It broke everything from this move. Right? From this move, even the 78.6 was breached. It breached it, it tested it. So if you had taken a position to the upside here, you wouldn't be wrong because we got the break above, tested, and continue. But that was short-lived. It decided to keep going down. This type of positions, when over the long term we see some downward pressure, any position you take, you exit quickly. Right? It's not a regular trend. It's a lot of up days followed by down days, up days followed by down days. Because of that, when you see this entry here, you take it, boom, you're out. You're out quickly because otherwise everything you gained, you lost it. So now this move didn't make any lower low, so we don't even really need this right here. So right now what I'm interested in is I have a supply zone up here, and this recent move to the upside, I want to see if it's strong, that it will hold some of these positions, or it just keeps blowing through and goes back to the October low. So for my entry here, short term, like green to green, if I get green to green somewhere, if I get green to green, I will enter short term trade. To the upside here, I mean that's the upside here, but to the downside, what I want to see is slightly up, lower high. So here are my two entries, right? These are my two entries. These are the positions that I'm looking at to enter. If one of these conditions is met, we pull the trigger. And we're patient. And this one, we don't want to chase, we're patient. There's one trade that I do sometimes.
Vinny, is it just me? Sorry, is it just me, or is your screen and video frozen? Manny, is it frozen for you?
It's not for him.
You're on mute. Manny.
No, it's not. I can see.
Oh, sorry. Okay, it's me then.
Yeah, so there's one trade I like to take sometimes. Like, this is not my norm, but this green to green, you always hear me say green to green. So this is my zone, right? So if it pulls back to the green area, I look for that termination of that pullback, and boom, we take it to the upside. So sometimes, like, here's one money where you can say, I want to take this consolidation. I won't take this consolidation. Why? Because I would say I'll enter at green and exit at the next green. This is like I'm chasing this one, I know, but I'm deliberately chasing it because I'm saying I'm going to go green to green. If price closes above the green, I'm out. Right? I'm not waiting up here. Like green to green is my move. So if it's going from green directly to the next green or somewhere in between, it might stop at 50. It might go slightly above, but if I don't see it go to the next green quickly, right? If it's slow to move, I'll just exit even if it's a small profit. So here's a possibility, right? Where you can, but this one we're not there yet, so you can say green to green. So third entry. Third entry. But this one's I always say don't do a reversal trade, right? So this is it's kind of a reversal trade, but in our long-term downward trend, it's in that same direction.
Yeah.
Right? It's reversal of this move up. That's why I do it green to green, because it's like I'm expecting once it goes past the next green, the first green, it's gonna find footing at the next green and reverse, right? That's what I'm expecting. So I like to take those sometimes. They're pretty good trades, but you have to monitor them closely. Like every bar, as it goes lower and lower, the bar high is my stop loss, right? So as soon as it keeps going in my favor, I'm going to keep moving the stop loss. So we have 6 setups. Any questions?
No.
Good. We're gonna pull the trigger. If these things happen, you're gonna show me next week. Hey, I saw this. I pulled the trigger.
I'm paper trading.
Of course, so paper trading. I want you to paper trade and journal a lot. Okay. Are we looking at anything else? Any other ticker that you guys want to look at?
Not a good day today.
No, this one is actually not bad, right? I like to see markets breeze before they continue.
Yeah.
Of course, in pharmaceutical, it's really not a breezer because this one like collapsed it all. But in general, technically, I don't like to see markets go straight up, right? So I like to see them take a breather. This was a supply zone here, so it doesn't surprise me it went down. As long as this holds, it's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to get out of the stock soon, hopefully.
I told you we're gonna get out around 12.
Yeah. I just put too much money in it, or else I wouldn't care this much.
Yeah, but sometimes it's fun to watch these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Manny, what stock do you want to look at?
Maybe AI a little bit.
It's all about AI now. There's too much AI talk, right?
A little bit of collapse too ever since we made that high.
So overall downtrend.
Yeah.
Right, overall downtrend from where it started at, it opened around 100. It pushed up, but now overall downtrend. So I'm moving in the bias that we're in the downtrend. We're in the downtrend, but like for a long time, we haven't seen any higher high. It has been continuously lower high. Right? Just one pop here, but then continuously lower high. Here, we have a higher high. Not only that, let's see. If you were thinking of this supply zone here. Are we on the daily? If you're looking at this supply zone here, it's kind of holding as support, right? It did not hold as resistance.
Mm.
So could this be, an entry opportunity? Right.
Green to green.
Well, I mean, not to the downside, like to add to the upside.
Yeah.
But
I meant to,
if
you're
yeah,
just touching just below the 38.2.
yeah. So can you take a down, bearish position to 1795 area? You could, right here. Here's what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about here. I'll show you on the hourly. Exactly what I'm talking about. So this day we closed right at the end of the nines. We closed below 38. So if you take this trade to the downside, and you have to make sure that if we close above, you're watching it very very tightly, right? Very very low stop. So really this barely closed above, so you keep it, kept going down. At 50%, it gave you this big engulfing time to exit. So if you said I exit at 50% because it's taking too many hours, and as soon as I hit the 50, I exit, that's a better exit. If you wait for this close, you're pretty much break even. So it depends on your exit strategy here. But that's what I mean by green to green. Now I gave you a second chance here, green to green again. This you might be more comfortable with the second chance to let it go past 50% because it's making lower highs continuous. Right? This guy is continuously staying below, like I don't know, it hasn't been able to capture significant amount. It looks good here, but I don't know. But this one, are you thinking of trading it or investing?
No, just watching for now, and then I mean, on this one you can kind of invest because the opportunity is like almost the same if you invest and you take less risk because you're not kind of pressed against time because it's very hard to predict these types of stocks and when they're going to have their huge move up. So it's almost better to invest, and then if it it goes from 20 something right now to where it was at 100 something, you already like almost 10x to your money. So not that I'm not saying it will go back there, but just in terms of when you look at the historical numbers, yeah.
Below 16 is what I want more shares. Like as an investment, this is how. I mean, this is so. If you believe in this company, this current price is great, right? If you think it's gonna come down slightly, you wait. Otherwise, you just say, hey, this is good enough. 20 to 100 is good enough for me. Right? It doesn't have to be, 15 to 100. But I'm still watching it because I think there's a lot of discussion right now about AI. Everybody pushes AI and then they drop it. They push it and then they drop it. So I also want to be a little bit cautious.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we have our marching orders for next week, right?
Yes, we do. We're going to be trading from Hawaii.
We shall see.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Awesome.